What's up? Hopefully, frame rate is a lot better today. I think today what we're going to do is draw profile images. Profile drawings of people's faces. So, basically just gonna warm up with a bunch of random stuff, and then we'll probably take requests later. Let's move this guy. Beautiful. And then we can bring chat over here. Perfect. Okay, so basically, from what I've been understanding about drawing profiles, is you can start with just a square, and I have a video on this on my just on my channel, but if you start with a square, you basically are given all of the necessary points of contact for someone's head, and you can see right here I'm like slowly etching in a very rough cut of a head, and then the neck is going to come out from the back and then a little bit from the chin. But like, this is sort of the very easy way to get a head drawn. But if you do it super often, and if you're always drawing this way, you sort of get caught in this weird shape. Let me see if I have a better example. You get sort of pigeonholed into a shape like this. And what this does is it makes you have a big nose, and then this chin and lip area is stuck on the same exact line of the human face, which isn't always the case for a lot of people and a lot of characters that you're going to be drawing. So what I'm hoping to do is to slowly refine and figure out how to bump all of this out a little bit more, make the forehead a little bit more proportional, give that back of the head a fair shot at finding its way in this world. And I'm thinking if we just fine-tune this enough and play with it, we can sort of get there. Also, on top of that, whenever I'm drawing this style of head, so basically what happens is you have this really sharp sort of rounded forehead, when in reality, like, a lot of people's foreheads are pretty flat up, and then they have their hairline, and then their hair extends up even further. So they have like all of this volume that's on top of the head. But because, oh, what's up, Galaxy? How you doing? Pink poop emotes are great. We're doing more head stuff. Grr. But you have so much more volume on top of the head, and a lot of people always forget that this volume exists. So what I'm trying to do today is slowly get to a point where I can just, and you can follow along, I can just rip a solid profile shot without really having to go through the heartache of seeing all of this weirdness, right? So what I'm going to start doing, I'm the only one on YouTube watching. I know, I just started. It's been like minutes. Actually, speaking of minutes, let's start that bad girl. Alright. What I'm going to start doing, oh, thanks for liking the live, is I'm just going to focus on the face. Basically cutting this whole system, the system that I showed earlier. I want to cut everything down. I don't want to think about any of this part of the head. I just want to basically do a quick, easy rectangle of the face and really hone in on how big the forehead should be, what angle the forehead should be, how big the nose and the angle of that, and how much space I'm leaving for the lips and the chin. So far, pretty often, it's been for Art Nerd. Alright, hey, easy, Galaxy. What I've been struggling with is this top lip, the space between the nose, I always leave out, or I always make too small. I always make the lips a little bit too big, and the chin always sort of like sticks out not enough with the forehead. Because if you look at yourself in the mirror, usually your forehead's like right here, your nose pops out, and then the rest of your body, or the rest of your mouth and chin, is a little bit forward from that forehead, right? So, if we can just hone in and zero in on getting this face right, we can just draw the back of the head and no one's going to care about it. Are you having a good day, Galaxy? So, first step, we know I always draw the forehead too rounded. So I'm just going to start with some shading of like more of a straight line. I still want that crook of the forehead, or the eyebrow. I still want that notch, right? What's up, everybody? And then from that notch, I want the nose to stick out just a bit more. And then I want to make it a little flatter on the bottom, so it looks maybe just a little bit more realistic. And then I want the lips and the mouth to start past this eyebrow line, right? So I'm going to put maybe the first idea here. And then that chin can go down about there. And honestly, I think I'm going to change the angle of this line so the chin juts out a little bit more as well. So now, if you can see that, what I'm cooking with is that sort of shape instead of social distancing sticker. That's great. Instead of having everything crammed in here and having that nose be too big, I'm slowly making changes. And already, honestly, that nose is probably too big still. But I want to focus on getting these broad shapes and these broad ideas down first, and then we can sort of start to refine some of those size issues that I continuously make. So we have that nose. I think for the lips, I'm really going to focus on making sure that there is that space between the nose and the start of the lips. So maybe instead of drawing lips with volume, I'm just going to make a shelf here. And that mouth line is going to go just a little bit past where I think the nostril is going to go. And then from that shelf, I'll draw an angle line down for the lip, have that cut in, and then hopefully that will give me enough of an idea to draw a pretty solid chin, proportional to the head that I'm drawing, right? You're live on Twitch, I believe. I am. I'm trying to get people over there. But we're seeing this, and it's slowly coming together just a little bit better than this shape, because I don't like how circular this head is, or how circular this shape comes out. And right now, this is like the best I can do. So if I can refine this just a little bit. Oh, what's up, Demon? I am an art nerd. Not in a rude way, thank you very much. Yo, I just joined, but wow, I'm amazed. That's sweet. I'm glad. I'll do like a little sketchbook tour soon, but I really want to learn how to draw like just a solid head from the profile angle. Okay, and then there's definitely going to be hair up here. We have to remember that there's volume up there. And then from here, we can refine. We'll refine later with pen, but I just want to get shape down, because that's the thing that I struggle with the most, is making sure that this shape looks organic and real, right? So, to make sure that things continue looking organic and real, I'm going to throw in a rough cut of how big I think this guy's head is going to be, which that's also like whenever you're drawing heads, what I've realized is that people got big fat fucking heads. It's like, it is too much, and always like the face takes up just this sliver and the rest is just head and ear and hair. And it's really frustrating to get down and get all of these little metrics correct, right? Hey, sorry Galaxy. Nice job, so true. Thank you, Demon. Galaxy, I'm sorry, sometimes the swear words slip out. That's okay. So from this eyebrow, if we think about the eyebrow bone as a plane, right? There is this 3D nature to it, where it's like a shelf. Like the forehead, if you come over here, the forehead is basically like a big brick, right? And then from here, there is an underside to that brick. Like if I was drawing a full 3D square, I would have a line connecting up here and here. But because it's just a forehead, we have that front-facing plane, and then that ledge, and then that eyebrow. That's why whenever you're looking at people, or whenever you're drawing people, there are shadows above, right above the eye, because this eyebrow casts just a little bit of a shadow underneath or above the eye, right? Should I draw a male Demon Slayer character? Ooh, who should I draw? Yeah, do it. I don't even know. There's so many good characters to pick. Yes, do it. Or else. I was just reading demons. Do you want me to draw a Demon Slayer character? I can do that. But anyways, so we want a little bit of a shadow here, but we can also think about this brow bone as extending everywhere. So everywhere on this line, or everywhere on this shelf, the lines will follow suit. So if we have this crook for the eyebrow, feels like ASMR. I don't know why it's satisfying. Well, thank you, Bean. I'm glad. I hope my voice isn't jarring like chalkboard. So if everything has to follow this same line, like this is sort of our parent line, that means that all of our eye lines that sort of kick off and set up our eyelid will follow pretty similarly to that. So I'm going to try my best to keep that angle. And then we can draw like a little pupil here. Another frustrating part about drawing eyes from a profile is, drawing faces from a profile is everything is so small. Like the details, all of your line work, you really only have this little sliver of the face to do all of the details. And that's sometimes very, very frustrating because if you mess up just a little bit of one line, it's like the whole drawing looks off. Okay, and now, that ridge that we were talking about earlier. What's up, Mohammed? Bill Cipher? Where's Crow? I'm not sure, Galaxy. Thank you, Demon. And Bloom. I know, Magnus and Bloom are nowhere to be found, but I'm sure they'll join at some point. Cool, thank you very much. So from this shelf, we're following all of these sort of same angles, and now we're going to cut above and give just an indication of what that eyebrow is going to look like. And because the face is at an angle, we're going to see basically the whole eyebrow, but it diminishes or it gets really small at this front section. So we are just going to lay in an idea of an eyebrow, which, like, for now, that's fine. We'll come back and refine as we go. But onto the nose, you see that eye line, or that start of the eye. If you trace that straight down, that's about where your nostril is going to start. So we can lay in just an indication of that nostril right there, and then make sure to add in a small hole for the nose, and have that bottom line pretty straight, because if you look at your nose in the mirror from the side, you only see like half of the circle, not the full circle. Low-key the art. I'm low-key yapping. You are, but it's fun. It's great. I like all the emojis and the motion in chat. It's awesome. So, we have like a pretty solid idea of all the details of this face. They're not the best. I'm not like the happiest with them, but we're slowly getting to a point where once we move on to inking, things will hopefully start looking a little bit better. Again, I'm just trying to get shape and value of this face so that hopefully when we do get to sort of a finalization spot in this drawing, it'll feel a lot better than, say, this drawing that I've been working on. You have the Epstein list? we don't talk about that. He looks like a veteran. Ooh, choose a male Dragon Ball character. I could do that. That would be fun. Those are easy drawing too. Give him a military cap. All right. Hats would be a great idea to hide hair. I don't ever have to draw hair if I just draw everybody with a hat. Um, that's interesting. We'll think about that. Maybe a military cap will be perfect. Um, but with all of these details, we can slowly just keep darkening up the lines that we really like, and then slowly but surely we'll get to a point where whenever we're adding the pen ink, things look a lot better. You need hair underneath? Yeah, you're right. You love painting hair? Painting hair is so much more fun and rewarding than drawing hair. I feel like even when using my pencil, like you can have the value and then you can have the sheen and then you can have the sort of strands that connect everything into itself and you can be very gestural with it. It's still like every once in a while you tweak one thing and all of a sudden it's just the worst drawing you've ever made. Bill Clinton followed. Thank you, Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton heard that I have the Epstein list and he came running. Okay, so for hair, we have basically this rough cut of a hairline first. And what hairlines usually do is right past the eye and the eyebrow, you start to get that little side hit, and then what that turns into is the side burn. And this, I haven't figured out any sort of like fun hack or trick to the trade or whatever. I think this is one of those parts of drawing where it really just takes practice and understanding head shapes and types of hair and types of characters that you're drawing. But what really helps is if you have a clear understanding of where the ear goes, you can usually get all of those hair moments pretty solid. And already we see that this ear is pretty far back. So what I'm going to do is just erase a little bit of what we just drew. I'm going to reposition the ear to about there, right? And we can just lay in a little bit of an indication of that ear. And then that's going to give us a much better representation of where that sideburn is going to lay. And then that also gives us a better representation of where that hairline is going to start. You see that? You see how it's just slowly moving stuff around, slowly making edits is the way to go. Who did you say from DBZ? Ooh, I like drawing Vegeta a lot because he's really expressive. I just realized Baymax. I forgot again to draw it. Ooh. Kids be telling me to keys. Galaxy, what are you talking about? I just do random streaks of hair. Oh yeah, so do I. Usually it's pretty much the easiest way. So, with this hair, we can just sort of gray wash it, just color it in very roughly, just because something that I've found in all drawing and painting and everything, it's much easier to add details and edits and all of these things when you already have like a start to the drawing. Like whenever you start drawing and it's just a blank piece of paper, Vegeta for the win, of course, obviously. Like drawing on a white space is much harder than drawing on something that you've already sort of mucked up. So, you heard nothing. Having this like gray wash usually helps me because it makes every stroke feel a little bit more full. It makes every stroke feel more intentional rather than sometimes drawing just from straight nothing can feel like everything is a mistake instead of everything is building. Which is like whenever you're drawing, you always thinking about everything as building up to the final is always going to help you, because some people get bogged down, myself included, in like it has to be perfect. Straight away it has to be like the best drawing I've ever done. And if you go at every drawing like that, you're pretty much going to lose every single time. And that's just because it's like drawing is such a process. It is such a slow grind to a finished product. Like that ear, I moved it 2 or 3 times, and now finally I'm starting to add in a little bit of detail, and with every line it's slowly getting closer and closer to a final. Oh, thanks for following. Thanks for the likes too. So as we're going about this, if we just slowly add that gray wash, and then we slowly add in details on top of it, slowly we get to a closer final product. And I'm not too stressed about all of the sort of middle parts of this drawing. I can just free flow, get some texture into this hair, so that when we move to inking, it's a little bit easier. So like already, this face looks more realistic than this face. And all we've been doing is slowly refining angles, slowly pushing things out, slowly taking things in. Just like the very slow, methodical method of getting some of these drawings to look more realistic. I'm really just shooting for realism. Bro, value is everything. It's one of the keys to the universe. Oh, 100%. Especially like once you start understanding like shading and value for certain like frames of the face or certain panels of the face, you just get to this point of understanding, like especially the lips. The lips you'd never actually draw. You just shade in because they're a little bit pinker or they're a little bit darker than your normal skin color, no matter what character you're drawing. So it's just like a slow, you basically only draw that middle line and then the rest is just value. And that took me a long, long time to learn. 1 second, big water chug. Why am I the only one who liked bro? I'm on the yapping streak. No, don't mute Galaxy, you're doing great. It's so small, small ears. Outlaw Caleb, what up? But we're just slowly but surely adding detail until we feel pretty comfortable with it, and keeping value, keeping shape, keeping all of these things in our thoughts as we're drawing, but not letting a singular thing really dictate what we're doing, right? So we can finish off that neck. We can add in some muscle structure maybe, a little bit of a jawline there maybe. And now we can sort of start inking maybe. And you know, this might turn out horribly, but for right now, different density structures based on value of pressure, oh, definitely. But now that we have like this rough cut of a face, we can start inking. And for better or for worse, the drawing will be done. And I've at least learned some things from trying to go from this profile drawing to this one, right? And that's the cough, cough, I can't stop yapping. Keep going. Galaxy, I love the yapping. I've already felt like I've learned a little bit from this, and that's sort of the worst part about drawing, is you just have to suffer through a bunch of the bad stuff to then get to a pretty solid drawing. So, from here, we are going to solidify this forehead line and that eyebrow notch into the nose. I'm going to cut away just a little bit of that nose and maybe add a little bit of an angle down into the lip because that feels more realistic. We're going to cut down into that top lip, and that top lip is going to dictate where our mouth line is. We can give them maybe a little side hit to show that there is an end to that mouth. And then this bottom lip can just jut out slightly. We'll add a little indication for the bottom of that lip. We'll even add maybe a little line there to help us understand that there is more to see. And then we can cut out to the chin maybe. And then swoop down into the neck. Now already, I'm seeing some mistakes and I'm seeing some things that I'm not happy with, but We've got to keep going. You know what look? Bruh. Shame on you, Demon. Sorry for being quiet. Oh, no. No need. We're chilling. Also, Galaxy is like... Galaxy is going crazy, so it's fine. I'm gonna eat a lollipop. Be right back. Great. Already I'm seeing a few things that I wish were changed. Like this neck, it kind of looks like he's really stretched out. So I'm just going to throw in a second line, and we're all going to pretend like things are fine. Because that is also a big part of drawing, is just, hey, this part sucked, but we are going to pretend that it didn't happen, and we're going to see if we can fix it a little bit later on. So we'll add in some detail for that eyebrow, maybe make it a little bit bushier in that thicker portion of it. We'll add in an indication for the eyelid down into the bottom of the eye. The pupil, which usually always makes drawings look way more realistic when you add that pupil in finally. We'll give him that little bottom hit. We'll add a little bit of dimension to show that that eye is, sunken in and it moves into the cheekbone. If you remember from earlier, I didn't like this nostril drawing, so what we're going to do is I am going to shrink that up just a little bit, and then I'm also going to make this less extreme, which I think that barely worked. I think it still looks a little bit strange. I think the next time we draw this type of head, we're going to change how we do a nostril, but for now, I'm fine with it. Sorry you have to go. That's alright, Demon. Thanks for hanging around. I'll see you later. But as we're moving on, this ear feels maybe a little bit small, so I'm going to come in here and give it just a little bit extra girth to it. Just a little bit of lengthening and a little bit of a size change, and then all of the details will also give us a few little bits of depth and dimension. So I'm going to add some shadow there. I'm going to add the line in, and that goes down into that little notch that we all have. We'll add a little bit of shadow there as well. And then we can add just a little indication of that ridge. And like for all intents and purposes, like that's a fine ear. Like a lot of people get tripped up on the ear. Like they are fairly simple. So it's just a matter of, practicing a couple of them in a row, getting used to them, and then figuring it out later. So then for the hair, this guy's got kind of like a swoopy system. So we'll just pretend for now and get some interesting layers and ideas in there. He's got like, maybe it's all brushed back, so all of his sideburn hair goes to the back of his head. And we can go over this again with brush pen to make it look a little bit better, but for now, we're just going to follow that line that we set, just to make things look a little bit more realistic. And then that'll go down into the back of his head. And at this point, all of the hair is sort of compounding and attached, so this part will all probably be dark. So, from here, it's basically just a little bit of detail. We'll add like a little indication for that jawbone, and then maybe a little bit of shading to show that, that jaw exists. But it's really just a switch of light. It's not really anything special. And then because we moved this line forward a little bit, we're going to move this back of the neck forward a little bit. And that's going to change some of the hair that we draw too. But like for now, it's not the worst drawing I've ever done. And that is really cool. So we're just going to continue adding a little bit of hair here and there into all of the forms that we set, giving it some dimension, This back will be mostly dark, so we can sort of just fill that in with ink. And then from there, we can connect that texture and that line work into that. And maybe give it a little bit of shaping, a little bit of a pompadour-esque thing. And slowly, it looks a little bit more realistic than the previous drawing. I'm going to extend some of that hair out the back, and I might even just add in a little bit more of that neck. And now, basically, once you have all of this, you can go around to some more of the important lines and finalize and thicken them up. So like the outline lines are always usually going to be darker than everything else. So like his chin and his under chin has a little bit of a shadow, and then that final line goes down into there. And that's like marginally better than what we've done before, which is a huge win. Where'd the hat go, boy? I decided against the hat. That's it. I decided, you know what? No hat today. For real. But from here, like this guy looks strange. He looks too bulbous, too rounded, like kind of like a bowling ball. And we slowly morphed this sort of method, this drawing, into a more square and rigid shape. And to me, this looks a lot more realistic than this. This looks a lot cartoony. This looks very like anime. Oh, what's up, Made by Cade? How we doing? I have got something stuck in my throat and it's pissing me off. We are drawing profile pictures again today. 1 second. Alright, we're back. Oh, what's up? Lizart, you draw and I come hang. That's great. That's all that's all I ever wanted. You have so cool drawing style. What's the chat? Oh, thank you. I have a bunch of chat on YouTube right now and also on TikTok. We're all hanging. I've got 3 different groups of people all watching. But we're just chilling. How much subs? I think on YouTube I have like 2,000 subs, and then on Twitch I've got maybe 2 followers. And then on TikTok some 3,000 or 4,000 or something. But we're slowly grinding. We're slowly making our way. Which is fine. That's all we need to do. Let's draw another face. So, same thing. We're going to start with a square to make sure that we're ripping correctly. I'll cut it into fourths. I know that the front of the face, soon to be 11. Thank you. Oh yeah, Kate, I gotta get you one. You're about to have 5. Lucky I have 4. Oh, Demon, I got you too. Everybody's got to feed each other. We've got that forehead angle. We have the eyebrow angle. We have the nose angle. We have the, and then from the nose angle, actually, I'm going to make this a little bit more pronounced. From the nose angle, we have the mouth angle that's very shallow, but still exists and is still important. So, we're just going to slowly crank through this like we did the other one. And maybe one day we'll be pretty proud of what we draw. So, from this, we know the eyebrow is going to be about here, so I'm just going to lay that in first. We know the eye is going to be about here. This nose is a little bit smaller than usual, but that's kind of fun. That's going to be a fun new challenge. We'll bring the mouth line down. We'll bring the lip into the chin. and then that will connect into the neck. And I'm thinking for this one, we just go straight to pen. Mr. Friddlesticks, when you make a face, do you always do the circle method? Sort of. I've been switching, so I've been doing circle method stuff to see if I can get it that way. I've been doing square stuff to make sure I can get it that way to see if that teaches me anything new. I've been doing this sort of method to see if I can do it that way. I tried a lot more circle stuff there. This page, I was just like freehanding a ton, and I was very unhappy with most of these, but we're slowly cooking to get to a point where things look a little bit better. And I say better in the way that, like, I want it to look more realistic. Sometimes a lot of artists will get in their own way about saying like better and worse, and a lot of times none of that is really true. But words like this helps the piece more, or this looks more realistic, or this looks more cartoony, usually describes what they're trying to say in easier words. Because better and worse, like, you're basically just like fighting yourself on everything. You're calling all of your art bad if everything's either better or worse than the last thing. So, being like, I want to draw more realistic, and then that being your goal for a drawing, usually helps more frame up your goals and how to get there, instead of saying something is bad right off the gate. So we'll draw a little bit of detail there. Maybe we give this guy an eyebrow crease or an eyelid crease. We're just going to freehand his eyebrow to see if this gives us any sort of learning. We can make it bushier in the front. Right now that mouth looks a little bit strange, so what we're going to do is just hope we can fix it. We'll give him a little bit of a nostril there. This time, I really hate that top line of the nostril. I think it does a disservice. So this time, I'm just going to draw a little side hit and see if that makes our drawing feel a little bit better. We can draw a little bit of that bottom lip action. We can give him a little bit of a crease and make sure that that mouth isn't so long anymore. Maybe change the angle a little bit too. And we're slowly learning some stuff here. Not the best, but we're slowly getting somewhere. I'm going to add a little bit of eyebrow fur on that side of the eye, and then I'm going to even put in a little bit of an eyelash, so then it seems like there's another eye on that side of the head. What was that baby drawing? AI baby? You don't like the AI baby? Might even make 100 accounts to make it happen. That'd be sick. I gotta go. Oh, sweet. We'll see you, Demon. Thanks for hanging. Glad to have you. So from here, maybe we even add in a little bit of indication that there's more depth to this face that we're not seeing. And then with that ear, it's probably going to be about here on the head this time. So I'm going to go back to pencil and just sketch out where I think it's going to be. And that looks a little bit low and a little bit close, so maybe we throw it out over here. Alright, let's try that. So then we'll draw that classic ear shape and give it the old what for. We'll come down into here, give it that little strange shape that I don't know what it's called, and I also don't care what it's called. That's another thing. Whenever you're drawing, who gives a shit? Oh, sorry, Galaxy. Okay, let's make this guy bald. just to see if we've gotten some of our shape work more normalized. Oh, see, look at. Remember when I freehanded that ear and I said it was a little bit wonky? It looks very wonky now that we have the back of the head. So now basically we're boned. Add the bald shine or else. Alright, I got you. We'll even give him a little a little star there. So if I were to redo this drawing, I would move the ear back a little bit. Probably here? Maybe? Because then the hairline would end up coming down around here. Yeah. So I put the ear too close to the face, which is now giving us this strange perspective, but it's always good to take every single drawing and realize that things need to be moved around a little bit. So, just for learning purposes, I'll put this ear down here. And now he's got two, which is fine. And then, basically from here, all it is detail. And setting stuff up. So a little bit of a jawline there. You can make it as intense as you want it to. And then that little bit of muscle structure in the neck. And then that's sort of it. Let's keep cooking. Actually, ooh, I'm at 42 minutes. 4-eared person. Well, technically right now he's 2-eared because we don't see the other side of his head. Game over. It is game over. I'm thinking with that galaxy, I'm out of here. We had a good little 40-minute sesh. Getting back into it. Nuh-uh. I'm sorry. It had to happen. It has to happen. It's already been a quick 40, and we're out of here. We will do a better, longer stream a little later. I'm gonna cry. Don't cry, Galaxy. You'll be fine. I'll be back on a little bit later. Or tomorrow. But I haven't streamed in 4 days, so it's like I gotta get warmed back up. And also these drawings aren't going as awesome as I want to. Too late, you're already crying? Oh no, Galaxy. Well, that's okay. I'll make it up to you some other time. Thanks for hanging, and thank you for chatting all the time. I appreciate the yapping. Alright,